What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Lactic Acid. I'm your host, Dominique Smith. Today, we have a legend in the making. She is the pride of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Shout out to my Ohio State Buckeyes who handled business when we played you guys. 21-10. If you did not see the game, I just had to send out a reminder there. But it's all love. When you talk about Notre Dame, legends, there's Touchdown Jesus, then there's Molly Huddle. When Shaka Khan wrote I Am Every Woman, she had Molly Huddle in mind. That is the greatness that comes from her. Baller, shot caller, doing it big on and off the track. And she is my guest on this show today. Molly, how are you doing? Appreciate you joining the show.
Hi, thanks, Dominique. That's one of the best intros I've ever had.
Listen, it's all facts. And you have a guest as
We have
well.
a temporary guest. Yeah, Jojo, the baby, is sitting on my lap. So if you hear any goo goo gagas, that's her.
Listen, it is all good. Like, listen, I am the official journalist of Flavortown, USA, where the mayor is the reigning Guy Fieri. All thriller, no filler, that's what we say. And so we have greatness. So how can you not love it so far? So here you go. So I've been today, well, as we're recording this, it is the first day of fall. Which my two favorite seasons are the holiday season and fall. Here in Florida, it's low-key fall, as many have heard me say, because weather-wise, it's like the honey badger. It does whatever it wants to, whenever it wants to. And so let's just say Ben and Jerry, no, not Ben and Jerry, because that's more of a summertime thing, but let's say Yankee Candle and the marathoners, the marathon creators, New York City and Chicago. They came together one night. They had dinner, and they said, Molly Huddle is a big freaking deal. Like, she puts the team on her back. She is like an icon when it comes to what she's done to advance the sport. And we need to celebrate her awesomeness. We need to celebrate her amazingness. And so now that it's the fall, we need to do a promotion that centers around her. And so, what they're going to need from you is you have to choose what style of pizza would you like? Will you want the New York style pizza from the New York Marathon, or would you like the deep dish pizza from the Chicago Marathon? And Yankee Candle wants you to give them a cent. And the kicker on top of all of that is you have to name the promotion. So, what style of pizza, and then what pizza would you like on it, or what flavors and toppings would you like on it? What scent of the candle, and what's the name of the entire promotion?
Oh man. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll start with the one I know. I'm from upstate New York, so I go with the New York City pizza
There you
every
go.
time. I like just regular pepperoni. That's my go-to. Yankee Candle scent. Okay. So for me, um, it's gonna be fall based, but fall running, which I think of cross country. So it's gonna smell like it's gonna sound weird. Cross country smells kind of like dead leaves and mud and grass. So if you can make a candle smell like cross country, you'd make it smell like that. And it sounds bad, but it actually is a good smell. Um, so that kind of like fall outdoor trail smell. And then what would I call it? They have to go together. I don't know. It would be like it'd be something with cross country. Cross country, I don't even know. Cross country pizza party. Because when you're in it
Oh,
will remind you of your high school cross country days where you race and then you have your pizza party afterwards with your parents and your friends.
so there's a couple questions that I have based on the answer that you just gave, specifically about that scent. So let's just get it straight. Everybody knows this. Listen, I do have some experience when it comes to cross country, but in the unconventional sense. So I've lived here in Orlando, born and raised, um, and so my I was a shot putter and a discus thrower, but I love cross country. Love it because it to me is one of the most underrated, aspects of running. that does not get the attention that it deserves. But when you say on those cool, crisp mornings of dead leaves and all that stuff, I didn't get that. Listen, you got up in Florida when the Roosters did the cockle-doodle-doo to get on the course at 6:30, to run at 7:30, to beat the Heat at 9 a.m. So this is a new experience for me. And so I guess my question is, what does mud and leaves, because that sounds like just, allergies and Flonase and stuff to me on the surface. What does that what does that help a brother out, please. Help me.
Okay. Okay, so a little bit of ragweed for sure. It's probably more of like an East Coast cross country vibe.
Okay.
I feel like we need some good notes in there though. Like we need like the little bit of like grape bushes and like apple trees that you run through too, those smells coming through. But that's what it was like our cross country courses were either there were one of two things. They were golf courses or they were like these trails. I don't know, have you ever run at Van Cortlandt Park or been to Van Cortlandt Park in New York? That's kind
Uh,
of an iconic one that a lot of people might relate to. That has
so
it has the mud, it has the trees, it has it all.
so let's just cut the have you run. The answer is no. Um, so no, I have not had the opportunity yet, at least. Now it sounds like I have to go and check it out. Wow. Okay. Well, this is why this is you learn something new every day. So the title, I'm still trying to think of a title. Instead of party, I don't know.
I'm
Usually
stumped.
I that's what I'm saying. Like usually I help out with the titles when I ask these kind of questions. But that one got me. There's a country music song called the Dirt Road Anthem. And so I was thinking when you said mud, maybe, something like that. And then it was like Dirt Road Anthem, Party in the USA with Pizza Type. So we're just gonna go with the Huddle Paradise.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Or or like Huddle Up or something like that.
I
Uh
love it.
yes, the pizza, you listen, I don't know. I'm like in this mood for pizza, like all of a sudden. But there is obviously in Orlando, we don't have the true New York. It's like the bootleg New York. Um, but I don't understand deep dish pizza. So I am 100% rolling with what you say there. And listen, pepperoni is the best pizza. Debate your mama on that one. Speaking of cross country, we have started the cross country season. Um, and I don't know, it's kind of crazy to me that it doesn't get as much hype. I feel like there's more hype around high school cross country than it is
Mhm,
cross country in the pros,
mhm.
which is kind of sad because, listen, like I said, my experience with cross country was coaching middle schoolers, which is something that I will never do again. Um, but it was lit. Like that was insane. What is it about cross country that you love the most, and what are you looking forward to seeing this season?
Yeah, so probably kind of like your middle school kids, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with cross country. So overall, winning emotion is love, but it's a hard, like you just feel slow. It feels hard. You're like trudging through the grass.
Yeah.
In track season, you like bounce off the track and you race at night and it feels more flashy and um cross country, it's like not that many people watching. It's hard, it's long, it's 10K. So it's just a grind, but it's also really rewarding. And I don't know, there's something about running on the grass and running over the hills and through the trails. You feel like you're really in nature with this race. It's not like your typical road race or your typical track race. So that's the love hate relationship. But you're right, it is kind of weird at the professional level. It's like, um, not a very glamorous or popular event, but it's something that's usually like really important to a distance runner's season. So a lot of
Yeah.
us will kind of grind through a few cross country races in the late fall. That's kind of more our season, late fall, early winter. And we're thinking, okay, this is going to help us for the track or help us for the spring season. Because everything feels easier after cross country, basically.
Oh man, just watching some of like the professional courses, especially because you there's more of the elements when the pros run cross country. There's a better chance that it's going to snow. There's a better chance that it's going to rain. There's a better chance that you're going to have that mud that you were talking about. And it's like the track and field cross country, professional cross country to me is like watching the equivalent of the track and field or running version of an Ironman. Um, because my knees ache at the sight of some of those courses that you guys have to run.
Mm.
Um, but I will say this, that is interesting. So, what's been your most memorable cross country race that you've run?
So for me, it's always the world championships.
Mm,
It's like the hardest race I ever run every time. It's the only race where it feels like usually in a distance race, it's like the gun goes off, you get out hard, and then you settle into like a comfortable rhythm, and then you kick it in. In cross country at Worlds, it's like you get out hard, you keep going hard, you never slow down, you feel like you're dying, you feel like you're gonna puke. So that is how hard it is. You have literally the best, like they can send a team of, um, we send 4 or 5, I forget. So you have, it's not like the track where it's the top 3 from every country. So it's a
right.
really deep field up top. So you're just getting killed, like you're getting crushed.
Mm,
And it's just hard. And you have people you idolize that you're racing against, and it's always in a cool location. And you're right, they do make it really challenging and muddy, and they'll build like obstacles you have to jump over and stuff. So it's definitely the most memorable. I'd love to make it back one more time, in my career, but I think they have it this year in Australia actually, so that would be
ooh,
cool.
that would
But
actually
yeah,
be really fun.
it's always a memorable one.
Cross country, professional cross country sounds like I've made it's not even a joke at this point, but that's what it feels like covering high school track and field. There's a song called Killing Me Softly. And that's what like running a cross country course on the professional like level sounds like by the Fijis. Oh man, that is insane. That's insane. But how are you doing? How is life holding up for you? You seem extremely busy, like balling at everything and stuff. So how's everything going on your end?
It's going good. It's definitely different now. I had my first baby like 6 months ago almost. So I'm on the comeback training wise. We have a lot of other little side projects going on that I started while I was pregnant and I couldn't run. So like I wrote a book and we have that out into the world. I have a podcast as well. So we work on that in my spare time. So definitely busy. But it's fun. It's all good things. As you know, like being creative and making something is really fulfilling, and it's really fun, and it's good to use that part of my brain. And then, yeah, still have my day job of running. So working on that.
It's really hard too and everything. So, but you
Yeah.
have like for what is so crazy. Honestly thinking about it this morning, like the range that you have as far as what you've been able to accomplish and what you are accomplishing is like the range that Steph Curry has when he shoots 3-point shots. Like you have that, he can pull up from 30 feet or he can go to a layup and you can't guard either one of them. It's like that's the kind of like greatness that you have from writing a book to running 5Ks and 10Ks and now marathons and cross country and podcast and like changing the game for everybody. Have you kind of stopped and looked back on all the things that you've been able to accomplish and that you've been able to do throughout the duration of your career? Oh, I forgot she was like a 37-time All-American at Notre Dame too. In the
Wow.
midst of all of that.
Compared to Steph Curry. Wow. Okay. That's a big compliment. Um,
It's the
I,
truth though. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I just wanted to give back to the sport, and I just had all these ideas for like creating content or stories I wanted to tell, and so I kind of just did it in my own homegrown way. It's nothing fancy. Production value probably could be better, but it's just like little passion projects, and I just love having that outlet. So I feel I've always been like that. And you do have to kind of have seasons with it. You know, I pick it up
Yeah.
and put it down. So like when I'm in a really stressful part of the track season, you know, like gearing up for the Olympic trials last like a year and a half ago, like, you know, those things get put on the back burner, training gets put on the front. But it's been a cool kind of way to fit everything together, and everything kind of feeds each other because you're always excited about something. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just plugging away.
It's like the well kind of never runs dry when it comes to like the different ideas and content, that you're able to create. How do you find that balance of being like an athlete? I don't want to say balance, but like the athlete's mindset is different than somebody who is, shooting videos or content and stuff like that. But you do both very well. Like you will talk about your podcast later on in the show, but you have a very successful podcast, and just the questions you're able to ask, and just to dive in the conversation from a different perspective. How are you able to kind of balance that? Because I know some athletes like take that same energy and intensity that you use to bury somebody on the football field, or run on the track or the basketball court, and sometimes it's kind of struggle going into a new field. But like I said, you're literally the master of all trades, that you set forth to do. So how are you able to kind of keep that balance, if that makes sense?
Wow, thank you. Yeah, no, I think I don't always keep the balance. I feel like I did kind of charge into, so like for example, keeping track. We used to put out like one episode a week when it first came out, and now we're one episode a month because we were just like all in, all of our energy. Like Roisin, Alicia, and I have we're all the same. We're all overachievers and we're all just like, this is unsustainable. But we're still going now, and kind of the same with like the book and some of the other stuff. I would kind of just go like, sports makes you feel like you can do anything, and it teaches you how to like build things, it teaches you how to show up every day. And so I kind of come to these projects and I'm like, yeah, like I can do this. And I do kind of go in too hard early sometimes, but I one thing that running taught me is like I always do finish it off. I always do, you know, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I feel like that's what the sport taught me as well. So I definitely take lessons from running and, you know, put them into other parts of my life. But I get reminded that like, oh wait, I have a natural talent for running. I don't have a natural talent. I have a lot to learn in this other stuff. So like the confidence has to be tempered a little bit. But it definitely, it overall, I feel like it's helped me to like not be afraid to do this stuff. Like I'm like, okay, like, you know, I can learn, I can grow. I did that in track and now I can do that in other stuff.
You're really good at it though. That's the thing. And here's the thing, there's no shame in putting out one episode a month, because this stuff is hard. Like there's like the scheduling, the interviewing, the
Hmm.
editing, the preparation, and then the execution. So that's yeah, I'm not even mad at it. But you guys do a great job, on that podcast. It's funny, just in preparation. It's so crazy. Like I remember watching like so many of your races, like live. Obviously not being there, but live on whenever they showed it on TV. You didn't pay $80, to have to see the race. Um, and you were the model of consistency. Um, you were in every race. It did not matter. Like if they put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out there, you were still going to be, well, I would hope you would beat him, but in a sense, like a runner to that equivalent. Um, you're always in the mix, and then you win and like you ball. How do you maintain that consistency as a runner throughout all phases? And it's not like it was just early on in your career. Like you still do this. You are still about that life. So how do you consistently maintain that level of consistency, in what you do and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, I feel like I had a good streak going, at least in domestic races, for quite a few years, and I felt like it took me a year or two to kind of build the fitness I needed and learn and get the confidence. And then once I figured out that formula, it was simple. I feel like a lot of people kind of get in their own way with things, and they're looking for the 1% improvement here or there. And we just focused on that 99%, getting it right every single time. And
Mm.
we knew what workouts worked. We knew how to stay injury free. I knew that was like the number one thing I had to do, stay healthy. Number two, we do our schedule of workouts that is actually not that crazy. It's not that complicated. I would make sure in workouts I was only going about 80% so I wouldn't burn out or get fatigued or overtrained, and just gave that time, and it stacked fitness. And once I learned how to approach races without getting too nervous, that was automatic too. And so it was like these few things I had to learn in the first 2 years, and then it just kind of fed itself after that. It was like, okay, you're doing this right. Like, you're testing yourself, and it's working. And I feel like after that, people were just like afraid. It's nearly like people
Listen,
expected you. There was this mental, like, they expected you to take the lead and expected you to win, and you just kind of worked with that. So it was, yeah, it was, I always got nervous, but I always tried to like stay in the moment, focus, and execute the same way every time. Like, never took it for granted, never thought a race would be easy. And yeah, obviously there's a few lessons learned along the way, but for, it did work more times than it didn't.
you had like Waffle House consistency during that stretch run where you were just like that fear, like they're just like the nicest person on the outside, but on the inside, like there has to, people say that inner Sasha Fierce or whatnot, like there had to be the stone cold savage that's like, listen, I'm frying all this chicken today. I'm taking over. It's over. You can tell. And it wasn't like an arrogance. It was just like a confidence. Like you knew it didn't matter what was going on. Molly Huddle was going to be in position to whoop you and stuff. And like I can imagine as a competitor, it's like, okay, that has to be like gratifying and satisfying. Like to have that reputation of just greatness and
Yeah.
excellence.
It did feel like an alter ego kind of. And like I remember talking to one of the other women that I race against a lot, and she was like, "Oh, I always am so confident before the like week before the race, and then as it gets closer I get more and more nervous." And I was like, "I'm the opposite. Like I feel like I'm going to lose to everybody. Like I'm preparing like I'm going to lose to everybody like a week before, and then as I get closer and closer to the gun going off, I just get like more and more amped and excited and like stoked." So, and then once the gun goes off, you're like, okay, like execute the next personality. Like it's Molly 2.0.
Molly, listen, I like that. Molly squared. Let's do it.
Yep.
I'm good. Do you have like a pump up song like that you listen to? Like I just on a recent episode that was aired last week. Who did I ask? No, that was I actually haven't asked this episode in a long time, but I'm asked this question in a long time. But do you have like a pump up song or like an artist that you get to get to that inner like just man, I got that swag, low key, just savage kind of personality.
I like it kind of changes. Like it depends. Like I'll overuse a song, but usually something from Beyonce works. I like Nicki Minaj. She kind of gets you ready to like get serious.
It depends on the
And
song.
it depends on the song. And then like I kind of rotate through playlists. Like I make a new playlist every like 6 months that is like good for pump up music and also doubles as a good long run playlist.
Oh man. Which okay, so I actually this is kind of crazy. I haven't heard too many people say like Beyonce is like everybody listens to Beyonce Monday through Friday, but if you have a race on Saturday, for whatever reason, I haven't heard too many people say that that's who they listen to first. Like, what's your go-to song?
Well, I liked Freedom. That was high on the
Oh,
list.
okay.
The whole Lemonade album is my one of my pump up like albums.
Listen, that beverage was changed when that album was dropped. Oh man. Nicki Minaj, she has one song that like makes me like question my soul, and that's Moment for Life. Because I used to listen to that and I'm like, oh my God, this is and I'm saying like I'm competing in a weightlifting meet, listening to Moment for Life, acting like this is the Super Bowl or the Olympics and stuff like that. So I do
Yep.
understand that. I'm not mad at it. Let's get away from all this running stuff because it makes my knees hurt just thinking about it. What are three things that people do not know about the legend that is Molly Huddle?
Oh gosh, three things they don't know about me. Um, I like fashion. I like shopping and fashion. I feel like people just always see me in sweats, so they don't know that. I don't really have the occasion to wear nice clothes, but I like to look nice. I have a twin sister. Not a lot of people know that. No, she doesn't run. Everyone asks me that.
Oh man.
And we aren't identical. What's the third thing about me that people don't know? Um, my mom's an artist, so
Oh,
like all of us are kind of good at art in our family. So like my favorite thing was drawing cartoons. So
okay.
I'm like a closet cartoonist.
Really? Oh my gosh. So my opening assessment of like honest to God's truth, if I'm the song I'm Every Woman was a person, it would be you. Because I'm not sure there's anything that you cannot do. Oh man.
I
So like
can't really I'm not a good driver or parker of
nobody
cars.
nobody is that doesn't well that doesn't count. Well, I mean in the Northeast, I is there a lot of like driving and stuff like that? I know like in New York people catch cabs all the time because they say it's not a good thing to buy a car living
Yeah,
up there.
like Rhode Island is such a small state that like y- you still need a car, but yeah, nothing's really that far away. But it is like New England just is like a tight space. It's like there's a lot of tight roads and narrow roads and like traffic and I mean, I think it's challenging to drive here, but I'm also, as I said, not a good driver. So
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that is your fault. I think the system has made it hard for you to be a free and confident driver because when you have tight roads, we have some of that here in Orlando, and like these roads are like toothpicks. They're so tight, and then I don't know. In driving school, they don't teach parallel parking anymore. So listen, blame the system. Don't blame yourself. We cannot call that a fault.
I'll go with
Uh,
that.
yeah, it's their fault. It's the people upstairs' fault. But what are some of the things that you doodle?
I like to doodle people, and I like to make other people guess who it is. That's like a fun, a fun game for me. So
Really?
I do, yeah, I'll doodle like I don't know, like my husband as a character, or like a training partner as a character. And it's always funny
Okay.
to like exaggerate things or make them wear that thing they always wear or make them doing something that they always do. So
That's like, but that scene is so interesting because it seems like that is the one thing about track and field athletes. Uh, like being artists. Like I had Adelaide Aquila on the show. I just had another show with an athlete, and Adelaide made a great point. She's into art and painting and all that stuff because you don't have to pay money for wall art, which can get
hmm
expensive
yeah,
to get.
my all the walls in our house are stuff that me and my sisters made, or like
Oh,
my mom or like my uncle. Yeah, we have a lot of artists in our family, and so we decorate.
that's listen, that is HGTV level of like insight. That would actually be good for an HGTV show, like Help I Wreck My House or something like that. And that's like one of the tips. Do you draw like I don't say like anime, but like characters like on TV or like from different shows and stuff like that?
I
Because
used to
I
when I was not recently, no. When I was like little and like practicing, like younger, I would draw like a lot of the Simpsons people. I thought that was funny.
oh that would be I would love to see like Bert Simpson or whatever his name is. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
Oh
like
my
our
god.
driveway at home was just all these chalk drawings of Homer Simpson
And Homer Simpson.
practicing, and my parents were like, "Okay, that's weird."
I think that's genius. That's like a level of creativity. I'm not gonna lie, if you ever start making like 90s television was my era of TV. So if you ever start making that, please let me know. I will pay top dollar for a caricature of Chucky Finster or
Rugrats,
oh
yes.
the
Right,
Rugrats
yeah, Doug.
because
Yep.
Doug, oh man,
Yep.
can you draw like elite level skill set? If you can draw Roger from Doug, um, because I don't even know what color that is on the scale on the color scale. Uh, pork chop. Oh my goodness gracious! Like
Maybe that's
uh,
why I like cartoons. There were so many good cartoons back then when I was
what
growing up.
what era of television did you grow up watching? I'm
Yeah,
90s. I
90s.
mean, I'm 28, but those were my shows.
Yeah, oh, so I'm 90s too, even though I'm way older than you. I'm like a decade older than you, but I yeah, definitely watched Doug. I watched Saved by the Bell was a big one, not a
Okay.
cartoon, but that was a show I loved. Um what other cartoons? I liked Doug, I liked The Simpsons. I still like The Simpsons. Um I liked Rugrats like you mentioned. Any other good cartoons out there? Those were like iconic ones though. I feel like everyone watched those.
There were some that did. Rugrats, listen, that was my cup of tea. Was not allowed to watch The Simpsons. My mom thought it was really stupid, but I was able to watch shows where the characters were named after condiments, like patty mayonnaise and dill pickles, all that fun stuff. I don't know, like that was to me like I watch TV now and I get depressed because, and I had uh Laura Thweep on the show, and we were talking about just how like people in, I say I'm 28, so like I know I'm not old, even though sometimes days, you feel like an artifact. But just like, I don't know, there wasn't Netflix, there wasn't Hulu, there was like the VCR, and then there was like Blockbuster and Movie Stop and all this other stuff. And the actual art of drawing was really big back then. When I was going to school, like everyone wanted to be an artist, everyone wanted to draw, everyone wanted to do that. So uh yeah, I actually think that's pretty cool. And I'm not gonna lie, that era of television needs to come back. Like, I don't know. That was the best era of television. But what is it like living in the Northeast? I live in the South, and so I'm always interested to hear people who can celebrate fall on the first day of fall and they don't have to wait and they get seasons and all that stuff. But what is it like growing up in a small, tight-knit, community in the Northeast?
Yeah, I like it. Today, yeah, today's first day of fall. I have my sweater on. It was a little cool and rainy, so it feels like it. Um, it's a lot of pumpkin patches and a lot of
Oh
apple
boy.
picking this time of year. That's popular. A lot of haunted houses up here. They do Halloween big. I think it's because we're in like um New England as well, so it's like Salem witchy area, and they like to
That's true.
celebrate that holiday a lot. There's a lot of tours and stuff over in Salem, Massachusetts, and they filmed last year. The park by my house filmed Hocus Pocus 3, which is
Really?
coming out. Yeah, look for it. It's coming out this probably around Halloween. They filmed it last fall, and if if there's like an old village scene, that's actually in Rhode Island, Lincoln, Rhode Island. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's actually pretty cool.
I know. We were like, so who's in that movie? It's like is
Oh man.
Bette Midler one of them? Bette
And
Midler,
Hocus Pocus 3?
Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. Was it like
Let's look and see. So you have
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, Thora Birch, Vanessa Shaw, Sean Murray, Omri Katz,
I
Omri
assume they're in the
Katz.
third one. I don't know. We didn't see
Uh
anybody famous, but
oh, I was gonna say that would be awesome, like if you were in it. Like
me
if
in the
they
back.
did,
My maybe my dog's in the background walking around. Who knows? Because
or
they closed half the park, but then you could use the other half, and so people were like watching all day and stuff.
so pretty much all of them are going to be in this movie
Okay.
except Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, she wasn't in it. Okay.
No, she was. She's just not in this one.
Oh, okay.
Hocus Pocus 3, which was it's weird. I'm never are you big on Halloween?
I love Halloween. Yeah.
Really? I can't do it. Like maybe because like I grew up in a religious household where it wasn't allowed. The only thing that I did was Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and
Ooh.
it gets testy. I'll just say that. Like all the boys take the girls because it's like that's the perfect first date. Because you're guaranteed to get scared, and then when you scare the boys, that's when people start punching the characters.
Oh God.
And they have chainsaws everywhere and everything. But I've always was curious, like, what would be the go-to athlete costume? Like, if you went trick-or-treating now as an adult, what is like that costume that you have to wear?
So I never actually get to dress up because we're always doing like New York City Marathon is usually around
Oh yeah.
Halloween, or in college we had conference, so we like never dressed up. But I don't know. I feel like dressing up as like your favorite athlete would be cool. Like someone who had a lot of trademarks, like cool things you could copy. So like I loved like Flojo because she did the nails and I love
Oh yeah.
nails. I who else did I want to be? I wanted to be I don't even just whoever your favorite athlete was. So like you could copy their bib and write their name on it. So like if I really loved like I really looked up to Dina Castor in college. So you could always just like remake her outfit and like kind of like, if she wore like a trademark like shoe or sock, you could like put that on and write Dina on the bib and wear the little medal. So that's kind of like the obvious running costume. Um Forrest Gump, a lot of people did that. It's not that creative. I feel
That's
like
not. That's
nah,
not
it's
good.
not. It's not good. Let's see. This year I want to be I don't know if we're gonna dress up. We like never find an occasion, but I want to be Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye because we have the same haircut and I just
Oh
need a beard.
wow.
And then we can make our baby Bobby Burke because she could be baby Burke. And then my husband could pick whoever he wants to be of the remaining Queer Eye guys.
Please do that. I've never seen the show, but if it that I've seen like pictures, and so that would be oh my gosh, that would be epic. And
I
I don't
love it.
know,
Yeah. I love
just
that
go
show. So I've been waiting.
just go on a family stroll like through the park or whatever the case might be. That I don't know, the Northeast sounds like Stars Hollow. Uh
Yeah. It's got that vibe this time of year.
Oh my gosh. I really hope you do that. That would and just start running around the park, and then let's see who gets confused to see who like if they can, decipher who the real characters are. How do you spend your free time when you're not working, when you're not running, when you're not training, when you're not doing podcasts, when you're not writing books and all that fun stuff?
I mean, that is a lot of my free time because it's fun, but yeah, I don't know, just decompressing, hanging out with my close running friends who live in Providence. And I like to shop, I like to read, I like to watch Netflix with my husband, just activities that are just fun, not trying to accomplish anything.
What's the best and the last show that you binge watched on Netflix?
So this is gonna sound nerdy. It was called A Midwife, which is a BBC show, and I got really into it when I was pregnant because it shows
Oh,
really wide variety of like birth complications, but it's actually like this drama set in the 1950s in England about midwives. And I never thought I would like it. I never would have watched it before I got pregnant, and now I'm like hooked on it. And there was so many seasons. I'm almost done now, and it was like probably 12 seasons of the show. It was
it's
a lot.
95 episodes, 11 seasons.
Yeah.
I
I'm
I
I'm
don't
into it.
think
I
I
feel like I could deliver a baby now after watching it.
so that's like your natural pump up show, essentially. I heard of that show. Did not I Nothing I would watch, but I did not think anybody pregnant would watch it.
No, that's how so a pregnant woman recommended it because you learn a lot actually watching it if you never had a baby before, and she was right. But then it also kind of hooks you. It's got good storylines.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm actually looking for another show to the last show that I binge watched on Netflix, and I got to the last episode, but I cannot bring myself to watch it. It's called The Good Place. I'm not sure if you heard of it. NBC's The Good Place.
With Ted
Uh
Danson and
yes, and
all the
Kristen
yeah.
Bell, and uh it is the best series I've seen in my 28 years of existence, but I can't watch the last episode because I'm not good with emotions, and so I'm not one
Mhm.
that's going to try to cry, and apparently that is like a tearjerker. uh but who knows, maybe one day I will get bored and check out The Midwife. uh Always curious about this from athletes when it comes to the baking championships. A, are you a staunch watcher of it? B, could you compete in it? And C, which one would you be a part of?
So I've watched a few British Bake Offs, but not all of them. So
Okay.
I'm like a casual fan, I guess. It's a very relaxing show to watch. I am a notoriously bad baker. I just don't follow the directions. Baking's precise, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I must just always be a little distracted. I don't know, like nothing I bake ever comes out good. Apart from I can do sourdough bread, that's about it. Everything else, cookies, cupcakes, everything's terrible. So
Cookies are hard.
they are hard. It's hard to make a good one.
Yeah.
I've
So
tried a lot. I've tried often. So yeah, I wouldn't be good. But I guess British Bake Off is like the one you want to do. It's like or I like Is It Cake? That one's really more of an artistic show because they're trying to make the cakes look like other stuff. So it's more about like the decorating than how they taste.
I've heard of the British Bake Off, but I've never heard of Is It Cake. So these must not be Food Network series. Um I've heard of the British Bake Off, and people say that one is really good, but Is It Cake? I have not seen that. I have not heard of it. So what channel
It's
is that one on?
it's a new one. I think it's on Netflix. And it's like you can't watch too many because it's almost like too simple of a show where it's just like they have an object and a cake and you decide which one's cake and which one's not cake. It's like they look
Oh,
very realistic. So like it'll be like a cake football and a sandal and like a cake sneaker and you guess which one's cake and which one's not and they cut it in half to prove if it's cake or not.
I think I may have to pass on that one.
It's
'Cause
like it is kind of like you watch one and you're like, I'm good for today.
I feel like my competitive side would just be watching like, oh, you idiot. Of course that's not a cake. Like, why would you choose that?
I don't
Uh,
know. They look really realistic. They
but
fooled me a few times.
did it? Honestly, like I feel like you would be really good on some of these baking championships, specifically when it comes to the decorations and the creativity. Like, I think you would kill Halloween baking championships.
Maybe. Isn't there one where like they have bad bakers on? Nailed it or something? Like nailed it. I could do
There,
that.
but like the from a design like part, obviously the cake crap and all that, not crap, but the cake and the cookies and all that stuff has to be, pleasing to the palate and edible. But the design, like people lose points for design. And so if you're like, I can definitely see you doing like a Homer Simpson with a Halloween bucket, out of like a watermelon, or they use anything. I can definitely see that. And with like orange paint,
That'd be
and
awesome.
you easily winning like 20 grand, like I could see you as yourself or something like that with like a Wonder Woman cape and
Just all
everything.
these random skills pay off one day at the cake
Ex-
baking championship.
exactly. Like you could have like a little microphone and everything. You like the bucket, pushing the baby stroller with your book, how she did it, and literally just getting 25 grand. Like, I don't know. Either that or one of the cookie championships. I think it would be epic.
That would be
Um,
amazing.
Rhode Island, though, I will say this: the one thing that's a place I do want to visit because I've seen some of the restaurants on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and I had no idea that the food up there like is like that. Uh, like from
Oh
a
yes.
restaurant point of view. And I'm
Yeah, Providence especially. That is amazing. Yeah, I forget what restaurant Guy Fieri went to here. I think it was the hot dog place, I'm guessing. We have a really good hot dog place. Only Systems Hot Dogs, I think it's
oh,
called. But we have Johnson and Wales University has a really good culinary department, and so a lot of the students leave there and start these like really cool creative restaurants. So
wow.
we get to benefit from all that creativity over at Johnson and Wales.
And they had a diner he went to. It was like a OG diner that looked like Denny's or whatnot. I don't know, but they made these mozzarella cheese sticks that should win a gold medal just based on its own merit. I was like, I don't know much about The only thing I really know about Providence are the fryers. And they've been a fan of mine just because of my love for fried chicken. So, you know, I was like, okay, well, it's a small, state and everything, and it's just like it's small, but it's mighty. So, look,
Yes.
it seems like it's like the premier place, especially for a runner, uh, because the weather is seemingly like heaven from everything. So listen, I'm a fan. It was 92 to 93 degrees today. So, I cannot like start
Whoa.
my official, but technically like that's not terrible here in like Orlando, but it's like, oh, on the first day of fall, you just want it to be a couple degrees,
A little
cooler.
crisper than that.
Just a dribble. It's on the way, as they say. But since this is fall, I have to ask this question, and I set myself up for heartbreak, and then we'll get to the last part of the show. When is too early to listen to Christmas music?
Ooh. I don't like a too early Christmas setup. I'd say before Thanksgiving is too
Okay.
early.
Oh,
That's
it's
I think
too early.
Thanksgiving, yeah, it's too early. I don't like I don't want to do it in November. It's like still, I don't know, still fall. It's not winter yet. Not ready.
I My heart is just broken by just the people who have come on the show and said it's too early before November 26th. It's like, no, it's not. Like I started today, just the low key variety,
Oh,
but
I'm not ready today. Ooh, I'm not ready today.
but you have the ensemble, you have a sweater, SpongeBob, the best time to wear a striped sweater is in the fall or all the time or whatever. So it's like you are primed and ready for like the low key Christmas experience to build up to the winter. I have to retire that question. That one, because it just makes me feel worse about myself. Oh boy. Have you considered I honestly feel like you would be a legit college coach. Have you considered go like I can see you and Anna Roar, which I'll be honest, just looking back at Notre Dame because she's been on the show. You guys are like some fierce, awesome athletes. You breed excellence in South Bend, specifically on the track and then on the courses. Have you ever considered like going back and just maybe not Notre Dame, but somewhere? Because I don't know. I feel like you have the experience, but you understand what the athlete goes through on a different level, and you can prevent them from making mistakes that you've seen. Uh, have you considered doing that?
I get to see both sides of the coin because I'm an athlete, and then my husband actually is coaching at Brown, and
Okay.
he's coached quite a few athletes before he went there as a coach as well. And so I kind of see him making the plans and what goes into it. And I see it's really rewarding. Like you really can impact the kids' lives, and you can be a good mentor. But I feel like I would have to find a way to have authority because I don't normally have authority. I just feel like I'm so wishy-washy. I'd be like, okay, do whatever workout you want, guy. Like, I don't know. I find it hard to push other people. Like, I don't want to be mean or I don't want to be like, I need to find the right approach of like, helping them find their limits, but not pushing too hard. And communicating is important. You need to communicate well. So I see all these skills that he has that I'm like, you know what, I would need to work on that. I would need to work on that. So, but I never say never because it is a really rewarding career. Like it looks like something that's really, like I remember all my coaches in my life, like from my, JV soccer coach to of course the coach I have now, like all of them like impacted my life. So in such good ways, in such big ways. So it would be cool to be that for other people and to use my skills for good in that way. So I'll never say never, but I would have a lot of preparing to do for sure.
I feel like you would be the coach to be like, okay, listen, if you want to be great, do this workout. If not, do what you want to. But if you're not great, it's because you did not do this. And then I feel like that would resonate, more than, just that, how everybody's like, oh, this is just a soft generation and stuff like that. Cause you're not calling anybody MFs and all this stuff, but it's like very simple. Like, okay, if you want to be great and reach your limits and reach your potential, this is what you need to do. If not, then it's your fault. The choice is yours, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's
The
like
power is in your hands.
yeah.
I'm not
So
gonna yell at you. You just do
no,
it or don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do it. No. So you take that pressure off of yourself and put it back on the other athlete and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that could work. I
Yeah,
think
I mean, that's more my vibe than yelling at someone or kind of riding someone every day. So
like
I don't
if
know if it would
you,
work, but
I think it would because you have the street cred. Like when Molly Huddle rolls up, like you roll out the red carpet, like you know, before Kanye lost his mind, he had a bar that was lit and said bow in the presence of greatness. So that's kind of like when you roll up to like a college campus. They have to listen because like your resume speaks for itself. So I think that's in your favor as well. And then it's like, I don't know. All they have to do once like they see you race, better yet, always I found this when I was coaching shot put and discus. If you make an example out of one of those kids by beating them at their own game, like, okay, you think you got this? Let's race a mile real quick. And you just pop out a 3:58 and they're at like a 4:17. And they're like, okay, coach, whatever you say, fam, I got you.
just to
Like, I
have
think,
that in your back pocket, you
yeah,
can
just,
be like, I'll show you. I can show you tomorrow.
yeah, it's just like you have like an extra infinity stone. Um, just in case. It's like I have this infinity stone, just say the word, I got it. But it's very clear and evident that you have a love and a passion for the sport that is unwavering. I guess I don't want to say necessarily where did it come from, but why are you so passionate in spreading that for the benefit of everybody through not just running, but through all of these outlets that you're involved in?
Yeah, I am very passionate about it. I love running. I love what like really immersing myself in sport and chasing big goals. I like what it's done for me as a person, as a woman. I just feel like it's made me confident and it's given me like a good relationship with my body. It's given me it's shown me how to chase goals in a realistic way. It's made me not afraid to mess up and then see what's on the other side. You still wake
Yeah.
up the next morning. Like it shows you all these things. And I just want other people to have that. And I know it takes staying in it a certain amount of time to get those things. A lot of people find running hard. And so they'll start and maybe not get that far, not get far enough to get the gifts from it. And so I just want to encourage everyone to like get to that point because I feel like I just feel like we'd all be better for it. So yeah, I'm very evangelical about running, but
Literally, like
yeah, I love what it's done for me. So
you are like the runner's version of like Billy Graham trying to like spread this message essentially. Um where does your bravery come from? Because not just you've tackled topics and subjects in this sport. Really, it's in this sport, but it's a society kind of issue. And you've not been afraid to speak on these issues, offer up solutions, and do it in such a way where the message resonates with others. And we talked about your bravery on the track, that inner Beyonce that comes out, when you're whooping everybody. But through these different creative outlets, I feel like you've helped elevate the sport. Honest to God's truth, I feel like I can say this. When we look back in like 25 years, we will say that you were one of the most influential athletes that we had in this sport, because of the things that you were not afraid to do, the things that you've accomplished, and just the heart that you have. So what gives you that bravery to attack those subjects to help somebody else that's going through?
Oh wow, yeah, that's great. Like I don't think of myself as brave at all, but I think I just surround myself with people that encourage, those things and like bolster me to go forward with those kinds of topics and ideas. And for example, Alicia and Roisin, we've definitely had topics on the podcast that I was afraid to tackle, and we would talk and they would hype me up and I would say you're right and thanks for the perspective. And so I just think having those people around you that know you and have good perspective and want to change the game as well, kind of all your powers combined, you guys, we just kind of could make the conversation what it needed to be, and it would resonate and be honest and be authentic. And so that's why I love those two. I think that's why they're great for having discussions with, because my discussions with them in real life off the podcast were like that. And so I was like, oh, I would love people to hear this. And whoop, my dog is like
Oh,
bring his way into the camera. I would love other people to be encouraged to do the same thing, to
yeah.
listen to that and say, what else can we talk about, what else can we put out there? So
Two more questions, but yeah, like I said, it's easy to shy away from it. So whether you have somebody hyping you up or you just come out and say it, it does take a level of bravery to a write a book, to be just continue to running and to continue to run in the face of adversity. Heck, it takes bravery to get to the starting line. I was just talking to a marathon runner, and it's just like you get to the starting line, and it's like, what am I like? Why am I doing this? So yeah, I think heck, bravery is not a strong enough statement. What advice would you give to younger runners, um, who are following in your footsteps or who look up to you? And what would you tell them, especially in the peaks and or the valleys, rather, of their running career?
I would say that, have sort of that long view, especially if you're a distance runner, because it is something that takes a long time to build. It takes a long time to build that endurance. And especially if you're in high school, you're really just at the beginning. And so everything feels so magnified at that level, but really it's just the very beginning. You're learning a lot of lessons and you want to take care of your body well enough to like use those lessons for like some really big things later on. So, if you're lucky enough to run in college, if you're lucky enough to run after college, your body can do that. It can go for a long time and it'll get better and better every year. Even if you're not running at a competitive level, like you want to have the love for it. You want to have it in your life. So still take care of your body, take care of yourself. And it's just distance running is one of those things where it's you just add a little brick every day, and so don't, it's not flashy, but don't underestimate what you're doing every day. You're making a step forward every day. And so that consistency is important. And so just make sure you get those miles in, make sure you get that consistency in. And when you need it, it'll be there. So I would say, yeah, consistency, look for the long game, take care of yourself, take care of your body, and make sure you're absorbing all those lessons.
And this is a quick question. What other event would you do if you were not a distance runner in the sport?
Sorry, my dog is like going crazy.
It's all good.
What would I do if I wasn't a distance runner?
What other event would you do?
Oh, what other event would I do? Oh, I always wished I was fast enough to run the 400. That's my favorite event. I think my fastest ever one in practice is like a 61, so I am not fast,
Oh, that's
but
not bad.
I wish I was. I wish I could break 60 someday.
All right, last question, then a quick rapid fire, then we're gone. Why do you love this sport so much? What keeps you coming back?
I love the I don't know. I sorry, that gave me time to think about it. um, why do I love running so much? I love just I don't know, just what it does, like what it teaches you every day. It just shows you every day that you didn't give up on something and just kind of like boosts that confidence every day. So that's what I like about it.
You have survived the interrogation process. We are now to our last segment called Down the Home Stretch. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions. I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. You are playing to get on the medal stand, and there's some pretty impressive winners on there, so no pressure. If you do not answer them to the best of your ability, don't even worry about it. I don't really care. It's no big deal. Um, but if I ask you to elaborate quickly on a question, it does not count against the time. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm bad at on the spot questions, but I'll do my best.
Hey, listen, that's a championship mindset right there. If there was a food that you had to live with and a food that you had to live without, what would they be?
I'd live with sushi. I'd live without um hmm, I'd live without Italian food.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't like pasta, sauce, none of that?
I like it. I just feel like I take a few bites and I'm like, okay, where's like it needs more.
Oh, okay. I hope there are no Italian people watching this show on
I know my poor mom is like, so sorry.
bless her heart. If you had to be the guest on any TV show, what show would you pick?
I love Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers, Late Night with Seth Meyers. Okay, that would be a
Yes.
good one. All righty. If there was a 90s television character that you relate to the most, who or could be your best friend, you would choose to be your best friend, which character would it be?
Lisa Simpson.
Lisa Simpson. Okay. A day in the mountains or a day at the beach?
I think beach.
Okay. What other sport compels you as much as track and field? As compelling as much track and field.
I love basketball.
Who's the go-to team? The Celtics?
Um, I'm more into women's basketball, but I'm in Celtics territory.
Okay. Shout out to the Aces who definitely took home that WNBA title. All righty. If there was a song to describe your life, what song would it be?
Um, hmm. uh, that Dolly Parton song, "Working Nine to
Okay, nine.
Five," except I work at 9 and 5 because I do a morning run and an evening run. I don't do anything in the middle.
Working 9 and 5, only way to make a living. I'm with that. Okay. If there was a dream vacation spot that you could go to, what would that place be?
We haven't ever been to Kenya or Ethiopia to see where all the amazing distance runners live and train, so one of those 2 countries probably.
Perfect. Couple more questions. If there was anybody, any personality who would you would want to narrate a race that you ran, who would you pick?
Oh gosh. Leslie Jones, based on her Olympic coverage.
Oh boy, I would love to see Leslie Jones. Like your last 400 would be the most epic commentary
I know.
from Leslie Jones ever. If you had to kick it and have lunch with anybody in this world that's living, who would it be?
Oh gosh, who would it be? Um, I would love to have lunch with uh Mindy Kaling.
Oh, I would love that too. Best food that you've ever eaten.
Oh, it was a steak we had in Brazil before the Olympics at a Brazilian steakhouse, and it was amazing.
Oh,
I've never had a meal that good in my life.
most overrated trend that is happening today.
Oh gosh, overrated trend. I would say I'm gonna go for the chunky shoe trend. I'm over it.
The chunky shoe trend.
Yeah, all the like big stack heights, the super shoes,
Oh,
the chunky fashion sneakers. I'm over it.
oh, those are fashion. Okay, I didn't know that.
They're
I did.
going back and forth. Yeah, you're seeing them on the runway, but then you're also seeing them in, obviously in races. All the shoes are getting bigger and bigger, and
I
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like a box brain. Last question: why does kindness matter to you?
Kindness matters to me because that's what people remember, and um, it can go farther than any other ambitious thing you have going on.
For somebody who said that they're bad at this rapid fire, you just won the gold medal. You are tied with like the 10 other or 5 other gold medalists on
All
this thing.
right.
So when we make it, I will be sure to send you a complimentary gold medal from USA Trophies um, down here in Orlando. Where can the people find you? Where can the people find the podcast? And where can they get the book?
Yes, I am probably most accessible on Instagram. I'm just at Molly Huddle. And same on Twitter. And we have a website, Keeping Track, www.keeping-track.com. We are keeping track on uh, iTunes. And the book is How She Did It, which is available wherever you buy books.
Exactly. Amazon, all those fun places. Bookstores, if there are any in the United States or in the
Mhm.
world that are still open, that's where you can get it. Molly, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. The GOAT, the icon, the legend that is Molly Huddle. I'm Dominique Smith. Until next time, peace.